I know it's not in you, but you're gonna have to.
Used to be really like that.
When you bring it on next year, they never yell at you.
We've got you in multiple.
That's awkward.
We are so impressed with you. We're duplicating you. Yeah?
Yes. Watch the show about that recently. That was good. Okay. Show was good, but it was duplicating one. Okay. But, welcome you all out here tonight. We're going to give you 10 minutes to talk about your study and how it's going and such. And then we'll get a while with Andree. And then Nicole is going to talk about the state fair. I'm ready to sign up for about, I don't know, 20 shifts. I like it. It's so much fun.
We just want to ask, are those your corks?
Not all of them. I mean, maybe 3 of them. So I brought the corks up here as basically like a little landing spot for the bees to come and land in your little garden or whatever.
We are relieved. We wondered if we needed to do an intervention.
And full disclosure, I am a caterer, so a lot of these come from other people and their celebrations. I just get to keep the rewards and pass them on to the bees. Let's see.
Okay, so you need to share.
Only that much can share.
Right, so you have to request. How do we get past that?
So we go share, and then share someone.
You know, those nurse bees can help feed
I know.
I hate my cell phone. My cell phone hates me.
What's under this?
They changed everything on that.
Hey, Julia.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good.
I was gonna throw a little more here. And that's where we are, which is where I usually go. What's under the? I think this is some of the best tasting honey we've ever made.
Everybody says that.
I don't know, but this is from just one of my hives. And all the other hives are really dark. Post tools, go ahead. That's right. Got rabbit shit. Oh,
Okay, give that a shot.
No, ma'am. I've taken oh, my honey and only mine.
Is that good or what? How do you know about honey? It's dripping down the side. Not very much. I'm not even going to sell this one because
I'm going to talk to you guys today about how to water your bees, or in other words, how to let your bees whistle.
Who are you?
I am Jacob Meadows. I'm a newer beekeeper. This is my second year beekeeping. I also work for Homeless Honeybees, so I have a little bit of commercial experience and just a little bit of backyard experience, but I am getting my hands in a lot of hives.
Well, I'm jealous. How did you get the job there?
I was scrolling one day on Instagram and I saw an ad for a commercial beekeeper, and I was like, no way, this has to be fake. I'll throw my hat in the ring, see what's going on, and sure enough, got the job. Honestly, I was pretty excited when I first got it, because getting into the hives once every 2 weeks was like really awesome, but getting into the hives every day and seeing different things.
15 or 20 or 100?
Yeah, try another 5, 6, 700. It was a lot of fun. But you get to see a whole bunch of stuff like this, where you have pollen coming in from all sorts of different flowers and all sorts of different seasons and everything. And one thing that I noticed that we don't really do in the commercial world, that we do a lot more in the recreation world, or beekeeping at home world, is that we actually put out water at our homes more than we do in commercial settings. Because in commercial settings, we usually look for places that have streams, ponds, rivers. That way we don't have another thing that we have to worry about. But as backyard beekeepers, we don't typically get to choose how close we live to a stream or how close we are to a lake. So I kind of put this together as a little guide to help us water our bees and also our livestock as well, because we also have birds and I have feral cats that love my watering station.
And feral squirrels.
Oh, those two.
Is that your picture from a hive?
It is, yes.
What I've noticed about it is it's a lot of wonderful colors of bee bread.
Right?
Normally we would just have 2 colors. Where
Yeah.
did that come from, that picture come from?
This was over in, I think it was, Clearfield, Clearfield area, Plain City area,
Okay.
a little bit more north.
What time of year is this?
This was about April, May.
Makes more sense.
So after the bees come back from California,
Mm-hmm.
and he was staging them at different.
Yeah. But one of the things that bees use water for is to actually make bee bread, because in order for that pollen to actually be digestible for the bees, it has to be fermented a little bit. So they add a little bit of nectar, add a little bit of water if it's too dry of nectar, and they'll allow that pollen to ferment, and that's how you get some of these other colors in here. So although you might get like just one purple from like a steam nettle plant, you can have different variations of hue in that purple depending on how wet that color is, how wet that pollen is. And they also then will digest that bee bread and turn it into roller jelly to be able to feed to their eggs and their larvae. And not to mention the queen herself. This is where bees typically find water in the wild, as they say. I noticed that on my hikes and travels, whenever I'm seeing native bees in the wild, they're typically landing on moss or landing on, little rocks here and there.
Mud.
Mhm.
Mud.
They love the mud. And it's always like a little scary to watch out for them in the mud. You don't want to step on those. One of the things I noticed is that they kind of go for different sources of water depending on what they're going to be using it for. So if they're going for clear water, they're typically going to be using it as air conditioning for their hive, because they put it on the inside of the cells and it wraps around the eggs and the developing larvae and actually cools them down. But if they're looking for more nutrients, that's when they go for the mud and get all their minerals, vitamins, and that's what they'll actually feed to not only the bee bread, but also some of the larvae directly. It's a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. They're trying to get flavors from everywhere, I've noticed.
If they like swimming pool water, what are they looking for?
They love hot rain.
They want
pools and
something
hot
clean.
tubs. It's like they love the chlorine or something. It's the wildest thing.
I don't know. I was trying to do some more research on like chlorine. I didn't see any studies coming out as of thus far, but I'm gonna keep my eyes open for anything coming out. But as far as I know, chlorine, although it's kind of harmful to us, it might be more of an attractant to them, because there are certain plants that do have chlorine compounds. So the bees might be smelling it and be thinking, this is almost natural. Let's give this a shot. That's my best working theory as of thus far. Take it, run with it, see what happens. But I definitely recommend trying to get yourself something kind of like this, where you have your clean water that you possibly have. I would try and steer away from more fountain, floral kind of things you want that you have in your yard. That will tend to drive the bees down and drown them. Versus the still water, they like that a lot more. And you can put corks, golf balls, little rocks in there as little landing spots so that the bees are able to have somewhere to actually drink. I also find that corks, especially when cut in half, work the best because they can land on top of it, get a little ride whenever they're trying to land and take off. You get to see them kind of strut around the tub.
So your bees are rafting.
Basically, I am slowly teaching them how to whitewater raft.
I put a scrap of burlap in so that it wicks up the water. They seem to really use that. And
Yeah.
and they don't find getting drowned bees in the water.
And I feel like the burlap sack might also mimic the natural moss that they typically find in the wild.
Just stays wet and water.
Yeah,
It's a bird nest.
that's obviously a great suggestion. I was actually going to ask people for suggestions soon because we all have our own different methods. But what I'm currently using right now is the chicken feeder. I put a few corks on that and just around the rim. It helps keep the bees from falling in, but I'm still getting a few bees slipping underneath when the wind blows or when a cat comes along and paws on one of the corks. But you also have these other different styles of waterers that you have in other people's yards. I would try and, if I was going to buy a new one that's more fancy, going to be staying in my yard for a long time, I would go for the water going over like the rock. That way you have a wet rock surface as well as mixed in with that nutrient-rich soil that the bees are able to get both the clean and the more nutrient-rich water that they're looking for. Versus something like this, although you have moss and things around there, it's not going to provide as many landing spaces for the bees to actually consume that water. And this is where I kind of talk a little bit about different things that people have been putting in their water. What's really popular right now is the 3D printed hexagonal floaters. And those are really cute. I've had some people tell me mixed results. Sometimes they sink, they don't stay on top of the water all the time. And honestly, I think the burlap sack idea is a great one.
I have some in the car. I'll give you these.
So I have those but round. If they're too big, then when the water gets lower in the bucket, they kind of, they get jacked up and they can't land in them. But they have different ones on, you can buy, and they're not that expensive. And I mean, you can't have a bee yard without water, so I've done similar to the one on the left, but it's hard. They're better. Those soft ones you buy on the internet that you have to poke out the little things, they do get, after a while, they absorb the water and they're not as good. So I would get a hard plastic on the left.
Okay.
It's round, that will fit in a bucket.
That's perfect.
And if it won't float, you can put some of your corks under it.
And you're going to hand out these quirks after we're done?
Oh yeah, these are, feel free to take them as you want, guys. I don't have any projects for them besides bees, so, and I mean, bees have plenty of corks. But one of the biggest things,
I'll point out too that 3D printed materials are typically made with PLA, which is a corn plastic that will absorb water over time.
okay, good to know. I know a few of us in this room might have 3D printers. I don't personally have 3D printers, so if anyone's open to offering their 3D printer services, let us know.
By far my most successful bee watering, although I didn't intend it to be that, it just turned into that, was when I built a koi pond in my old house where I raised my kids. That was wildly successful. And I think part of the reason it was so great is because they did get some minerals from that fish water, basically.
Yeah, the ammonia,
And then,
nitrates,
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. And then they had all the, I had, lilies in there and so forth. It was perfect. It's a commitment having a koi pond, but it was ideal.
I mean, so are bees, but having both of those together makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of debating on getting some fish in my backyard myself because I have a little water feature back there, but the amount of work and upkeep it is, all respect to you, it's too much for me.
Well, it is is another one of those crazy obsessions like bees.
Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. That's all I've discovered so far. More things to come in the future as more studies kind of come out. But that's the basics of how to wet your bee's whistle.
No. What I have found is you want to try to get your bees home, because sometimes they're not going to find it. So I actually put a garden hose over the bucket and had it just slightly trickly, and I think they hear that. But my best success, and I have several apiaries that I need large feeding things, I get a garbage can from Home Depot, I get the lid, I turn it upside down, put some large rocks in it, and then I have a watering can, and every day before I go to work, off to work, I just fill the watering can. But they really didn't go to it until I put a cinder block and had it just barely trickling, and now sometimes there'll be 200 or 300 bees getting water.
Oh my gosh. Dang. That's a really good trick. 'Cause I kind of got the chicken feeder in the first place because I didn't want to have to constantly refill all the time. Because in just an open basin in this heat, it just evaporates within 6-8 hours. So
I tried that too. And also for feeding chickens, they have the little dipper ones. I don't know if you've seen those little, you can get them at IFA. I have, at one of my apiaries, I don't have a garbage can lid, but because I only go there like once a week and I don't want to have to visit, but they'll have like, the chickens are mad because there's bees in their little dipper things, but the water, when you put a lid on that, the water will last like for 2 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
a whole lot longer than having it be an open container, which saves so much time.
Yeah.
You can also put,
Yeah,
if you have an apiary away from a water source, if you have one of those totes, you can put a pan underneath it with the floats. Then you'd have in
Right,
there
swamp cooler.
either swamp cooler floater of what they used to put in the toilets.
Yeah.
You can do that, put a pan under there, and then that will keep a pan with rocks, and that will keep the rocks moist and the water coming down.
Kind of like constantly moving. So
Well, if you have a lot of bees, if it's in a bee yard with 100 plus hives, you have a lot of water. They need a lot of water.
Yeah.
So that would keep the pan full of water.
And also when it gets low enough, that sound of the water will attract them.
Will attract them, yeah. So, you don't have to have a big tote, you could just have
Yeah.
5-gallon bucket or whatever.
Do you know how to do that on one screen? Normally I'm on 2 screens. And so you
Okay.
have
The internet said they like the swimming pools because it has a strong smell and chlorine attracts them as the strong smell. So you could probably put lemongrass or something in the water too if you were trying to tell them.
it's in the view, it's in here. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when I share.
We can try it.
so we're going to, look at that, she doesn't have a fancy.
So I have
That's the trick.
Yeah.
And then,
good spot to have it. That's the biggest part.
Oh, another
to
announcement.
make it,
We got to go out a bunch of cucumbers and the sign in. The sign in there. And I want to table the whole
so this screen.
box of cucumbers. Take as many as you
Yeah,
want.
there should be some
There's
screen.
some extra.
Yeah, I think
have to do it
that
about notes, I
green.
can't. It'll be faster.
A lot of them are
This way, from
It
here.
does, like, normally,
Yeah.
from beginning, that should,
Or if you want
like,
to.
normally you get a whole other screen.
Right, and it allows you
Look what's
to
on there, and this is what you're
Change.
So what we wanted
Oh yes.
was,
Maybe we wanted that.
I fully endorse it.
And then share, and then we can extend the screen rather than.
There's a couple two more back here.
And some of my 5-gallon buckets, I mean, these may be better than that. Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. to land on it and kind of take a cruise. So, yeah.
They work so well.
Yeah, usually they're
Just see about it just to see what it does. If not, I'll check about it.
I'd like to see what that tool is kind of.
Because that's just the slides themselves. I
That
can
was
close
just
that out.
that was just the presenter view.
Oh.
And
Oh, down there.
yeah, so we got to look this up. Oh, I guess I went back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why
I'm
it's
sure
not.
that I'm not giving this interview, yeah. It's just like normal.
I would not like 100.
Yeah?
Display it.
Dealers.
Okay.
I'll keep in contact with you.
Thank you, I need that.
Well, I've been to your house, so I can say that.
Yeah. But I have to be there dead south.
I'll go back to what we were on.
It's easy.
But first I gotta get it back to
Yeah, you don't have that.
I mean, I went to 4 different places with bees today, and it's quite enjoyable. You know? And that way you go to 7-Eleven,
Don't judge
go
my-
get a Diet Coke and your snacks before you get
This
to
is
bed.
the new parade.
I put them all in
I
there.
had 9 spots.
When you leave your
Do that.
hives all back together,
Hey, and you grow a hive too.
So I have bees in 17 different places.
And then I move it every once in a while now.
Do you guys know?
Needs to be better. Okay, I'll just show you.
Not every 2 weeks.
How often do you say?
Every 2 weeks.
2 weeks, he said, if he's lucky.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can do it this way.
They start changing this stuff, you gotta, they start not, I mean, I don't do a giant inspection.
Okay, and then I'll stand right here so I can click
Once I
through.
see that, it's all good.
Okay, we're ready?
Okay, sorry for the technical difficulties, as usual.
Can I do a plug for Friday Hives?
Sure.
She is
David,
the queen,
take it away.
she is the queen of Friday Hives. And so if you ever really want to be able to, how many weeks is it, 8, 9?
Oh, it's like 8 months.
I mean, 8 months,
Yeah.
how many different times did we,
We meet twice a month, at least twice a month between
So like
February
16.
and October.
yeah, so
it's a
16
lot.
things. A good positive thing about it is in Thriving Hives, you're assigned to a hive, so that's yours and maybe with 2 or 3 other people. So you're gonna go work on that hive, so you have hands-on experience with supervisors that are saying, you're an idiot, don't do that, or, oh, we're so
Wait,
proud
did
of you.
someone say that to you?
Metaphorically.
At the end of the time, you have a chance that you can, the hive you've worked on, you can buy. But they go through every step of beekeeping, and it helped me do what I'm doing, yeah.
Well, thanks, David. Yeah, so I'm Andrea Walker-Bravo. I'm a faculty member with Utah State University Extension, based out of Salt Lake. One of my main programs that I run is the Thriving Hives program, which, as David said, is a year-long beekeeping class. We focus on beginning beekeepers. So the class is really designed for people who have never had any experience with bees or who have never been able to successfully keep bees over winter. So we typically take 35-ish people per year. We have 8 hives at Wheeler Farm that's in our teaching apiary. And like David said, it's a lot of guest lectures, hands-on experience. We're getting ready right now to harvest honey, so we actually go through the entire year with students, and then at the end of the year, they have an opportunity to purchase their hives if they want one of the hives. And then we start all over with a whole new batch of students, brand new. Everything starts with brand new equipment and packages, just like a beginning beekeeper would have. So that's what I do.
How many of them stay with it?
A lot of them do, actually. I mean, that would be a good question for an evaluation. I don't have those numbers, but our goals, the main goals, for the whole year I have 2 main goals. One is that they're comfortable and confident in beekeeping and know where to find information and that they've had the experience. And 2, that they know who the bee inspectors are, our county bee inspectors and UDAF, and they realize that they're not the bee police and that they're here to help and that they're an amazing resource. And 3, that usually the answer to your question of what happened to my bees is Varroa, and that they know how to confidently test and treat for Varroa. So most of our students come back to us after the first year and say, "You know what? Help us! Like, you got us through the first year," and we say, "Sorry, you're on your own. Go join a club." No, just kidding. We do some. We're building more and more classes, but really focus on the beginning. So,
is there a cost associated with it?
There is. So it's about, I think we were at like $200, $250. But it's for the entire year. I mean, that covers everything. Yeah, and if you don't have a bee suit, we lend you a bee suit. All the materials are included. You take honey home, you get a book. So that's the entire year. So it's really a good deal when you look at what you get out of it and the time commitment. So yeah. But I'm actually here to talk to you tonight about the bees of Thailand. So as part of my job as a professor with the university, I was able to go on a trip this summer in May to Thailand to study bees there, specifically to look at AAA lapse mite. Are you all familiar with tropy? You heard of that, right?
AAA lapse.
Yeah, AAA lapse mite. So I'm just going to share a little bit about this. My notes screen isn't working, so that might make my presentation faster because I don't have all my notes. I would say, I was sharing with some folks, I have been keeping bees. I think I'm going on my 9th year. I'm a master beekeeper through Montana State. I teach, but I'm like not feeling confident. I'm not the expert on bees of Thailand. So what I'm doing today is I'm hoping to just kind of share what I learned, lessons learned from the cool experiences we had, and to maybe get you all interested in, wow, there's a lot of other types of honeybees out there, and there's a lot that we can learn from them. So there may be questions you have that I don't know the answer to.
Do they get confused when you speak English?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe that's why they were not very nice sometimes. So the program that we went on, it was through the University of Florida, and it was actually it's through their extension system, and it was set up for extension professionals as well as just general beekeepers. We spent 2 weeks in Thailand. It was really cool that because it was through the university, we connected with the universities in Thailand. So we went and heard about the research that the professors were doing there. We went out to their sites and just really got immersed in a lot of things that I would call like National Geographic experience, stuff that you watch and this is amazing, and we actually got to see it and do it, and I've got some cool pictures. So my objectives today were just to share a little bit more about the bees of Thailand, and then to tie it kind of back to, as I'm experiencing all this, thinking about my bees back here and how I can apply some of those things, to talk a little bit about pests and trophy mites, and then share some takeaways. So you'll see, this is me. This was their smoker, which is really cool. It was just like a coconut in a metal bucket that they just wandered around the forest with, and that was their smoker. But you'll see pictures of me, and then my 16-year-old daughter was able to attend with me. She's also a beekeeper, and that was just a really cool experience to have my kid there. So you'll see some of that as well. All right, so when you look at this list, how many are you all familiar with? The top one, right? Any of the others? Do you know the names?
Like 3.
3?
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. I didn't even know that. So before I went on this, they did a pre-test because it's through the university, and I was like, wow, I'm on university faculty and I'm failing this. I don't know anything about any of these bees. We all know Apis mellifera, right? That's the western honeybee that we keep here. So these are all the different types of honeybees. In Thailand, they have 6 different types of honeybees. So out of the whole list, there's 6 in Thailand, which it's a hot spot for honeybees. They're not all native. Apis mellifera is not native, but Serrana, Florea, Andreniformes, and Dorsata are all native to Thailand. So just a ton of different bees, really different variety.
And they're all honeybees.
And they're all honeybees. So what I'm going to talk a little bit more about today and show you pictures of are the 4 that we saw. We hoped that we would see all of them. There were people on the trip that were like, I want to get stung by every bee. That's not me. That was like their goal, was to be stung by every bee, and they did. We were not able to see Andreniformes or Laboriosa, but we were able to see these others. So I'm just going to go through some pictures and share with you. So the first one, we all know, right? The western honeybee. And you can see the distribution of the western honeybee. It's in most places in the world. Is the western honeybee from here? No. Where does it originate from?
Asia.
Yeah, Europe, Asia, moving into Africa, right? So it's introduced here, and it's not a native species in Thailand either. It's an introduced species there as well. So it was imported in the 1930s for commercial use, and they do really manage their bee colonies there very much like we do here, except for their climate is so different, right? So we're looking at hives, and these are pictures. So these are pictures that I took, and what's the first thing you notice? These are established hives. What's the first thing you notice?
No veil.
Yeah, one thing they barely wear any sort of bee protection
They're
there.
short too.
Yeah.
The entrance is
The entrances are a little bit different. What do you notice about the boxes?
Look like cardboard.
They're only.
Are they?
Those ones were wooden. How many boxes do they have though? Oh,
Two.
one. Yeah, so they manage their bee colonies in one box. So basically, as honey gets produced, it's pulled throughout the year. They're constantly pulling honey and managing their colonies in one box because they don't go through.
They don't
you know,
have to.
No winter.
They don't have winter
No
period.
winter,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So they're constantly, they constantly have forage. They have the rainy season and more of a drier season, but they're constantly pulling it out.
How do
And
they
it-
keep the, larvae on the honey frames?
That's a good question. I don't know. And there was a little bit of challenge with language barriers from the folks that we were working with, especially asking more technical questions. But it was almost like it was a nuke setup, like an expanded nuke, right? The four middle frames were really the brood nest area, and then they would get honey on the sides, and they would just continuously pull it. So it was fascinating, and it still is a fairly big business in Thailand to have bee farms. As we were talking to them, they get a substantial amount of honey, enough that there are companies there, selling honey and producing honey. As beekeepers from the United States, it was interesting because most of the hives that we saw, we felt like if they were our hives, that we would be really worried about them. Like they looked rough. The brood, sometimes the brood patterns would be spotty. They're constantly pulling the honey. But for whatever reason, they were able to make it work. And maybe it is because there's so many more resources and so much more of a humid environment.
Without the deadline of winter, there's not.
There's not.
There's not that sense of urgency. It's
Right.
Like, if it's bad, put it back.
Yeah, and I think they can just continuously refresh their hives.
Stupid
Yeah.
winter.
Were the bees noticeably bigger? Because when you hear about varroa mite and them being a little more resistant to the mite, they always talk about, they're big girls.
Yeah, so those are different bees that I'll show you. That they're probably
This
or
is
on.
not the honeybee.
So these guys do have the varroa mite. What I was looking at, because I had kind of the same question, because there are varroa mites on the mellifera here, what I was talking about is that the bees have kind of developed more hygienic behaviors, possibly, in some of the Asian countries, and so varroa mite is not as big of a pest problem to
It's
them.
not because they're huge honeybees.
No, these were normal. They look the same as ours. Yep, look the same as ours.
Those look like very narrow, like a nuke. Is this correct?
No,
It's like
these ones were
80
about
feet.
normal sized boxes. That one was a little bit smaller.
Like
But yeah, they run very different, very small. Yeah.
Okay.
One takeaway that I had from this one before I move on to the next was we asked them a lot about their treatments for mites, and a lot of them were very, what I would say, sketchy, like not necessarily regulated. I mean, treatments, chemicals that you're putting on hives depending on what country you're in, are not necessarily regulated like they are in the United States. So there was talk of mothballs or different chemicals that they might put on their hives, which
And
gave
they're
me
pulling honey
pause.
the whole time.
Yes, which gave me
Wow.
pause more than it ever has when I'm in other countries or places, and I love to buy their honey, and I'm super excited about it. And then all of a sudden, after this experience, I thought, gosh, I might want to be careful with that because I don't know what that treatment looks like because regulations are so different.
But they
So-
talk a lot about counterfeit honey, especially from China.
Yeah. These ones were, we were buying directly from the farms, but yeah, it kind of helped shift my perspective of, sometimes regulation's hard, right? Like we're like, oh my gosh, I wish we could just do this or put these things, and following the label sometimes can be hard, but it's really what we should be doing because it's helping keep us safe and keep our honey safe. So that was mellifera. And then they have bees that are called Apis cerana, and this is the eastern honeybee. So we have our western honeybee. Common name for cerana is the eastern honeybee, and you can see its distribution there on the map. These guys were a little bit more defensive, so a little bit spicier than our mellifera bees. Some of the bees that we saw in Thailand are cavity nesters and some are open nesters. So the eastern honeybee is very similar to our western honeybee where they are cavity nesters, but they're almost like opportunists. So farmers or landowners would just put out these culvert type hives, homes for them, and the bees would go ahead and go in and build their comb right inside there. So very small, super small nests that they have. They will abscond and come back year to year. And so they just, when we walked through landowners' land, there were just a ton of cement containers like this scattered throughout. Some would be occupied, some wouldn't. So kind of like a mid-level manager, they're kind of hoping they're there and they manage them and keep them, but not necessarily treating, not really doing anything to manage the hive other than harvesting. And this was an interesting takeaway too. So in Thailand and other countries, there's our managed hives with mellifera and stingless bees, which I don't have the information on stingless bees. They're not technically honeybees, but there's managed hives, and then there's kind of these guys which are in the middle, and then there's wild hives.
They
right?
call those males.
Males?
Boys.
Oh, the stingless bees? Oh, gotcha. I get you. Yeah, no, these are different. But there's honey hunters and honey collectors, and there's a huge educational effort right now to help the honey hunters understand how to harvest. Whether it's honey or brood, they'll actually use and eat the brood and larva, how to harvest that without decimating the hives. So that's kind of a big education effort that their government is trying to do for the honey hunters.
How would they take honey out of it, like the one on the right? How would they harvest it?
They just go in with their machete, and there's multiple, I've got a better picture. There's multiple.
They may be taking brood rather than.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, so there's multiple fans of comb in there, and they would just be going in and ideally just cutting the outsides, which you hope are more the honey, and not taking the entire thing down. But I think kind of general practice would just be to come in and take the whole hive out.
Just put the whole thing in a strainer.
Yep, yeah. So what sets these guys apart, again, they kind of nest in disturbed areas and very close to the ground as well. And the drone brood cells have these little pores on the cappings. So you can kind of see that in the picture below.
Did you find out why?
I don't know why. Yeah, but it's one of the distinguishing pieces of it. Yeah. So this was a place that we visited that I thought was just fascinating. I mean, honestly, it was just a junk pile. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of this corrugated metal out. We tromped through the forest, crossed a log bridge to get here, and the landowner just knew it was there. And they uncovered all of this, and you can see all the beautiful frames there that they would go to harvest. But it really felt like for Apis cerana, it was more opportunistic, right? Like a farmer, they're just so aware of their land and what's going on, and they're like, I'm watching and knowing that there is a hive of bees there, and that I can go out and harvest from it. So these guys were really cool, but not quite my favorite.
Do they sell that equipment on Man Lake?
This one? Yes. You could probably find that in my backyard if you needed some. I can get you some corrugated metal in a junk pile. Yeah. Yeah, but right, I mean, some of it is. This picture, I mean, it's just an old cement tube. It's not like, a lot of these things are just fashioned, right? They're just making them for their beekeeping. Okay, so then the third species that we saw is Apis florea. It's the red dwarf honeybee. So they are very tiny, very, very small bees. You can see the distribution for them as well, much more in the Asian countries and parts of Africa. These had to have been my favorite bees. They are open nesters. So the first two, right, mellifera and cerana are cavity nesters. They're finding their space. Florea is an open nester. So you're just walking around and you're seeing up in the tree the comb that's attached to the branch. And it's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but these guys are they're small. So their comb, their whole hive nest structure is one fan of comb hanging over the branch in the tree. They're very, very docile and very cute, and they're tiny, and they're Apis florea, right? Flowers, they were definitely my favorite. Then this is one of the honey hunters that went with us. I want you to note that he is barefoot, which he was barefoot for pretty much all. Yeah, he just climbed up the tree, and you can barely see it, but the nest is just right here out of the tree. So these would be another type of honeybee hive or nest that would be hunted, right? So a honey hunter would say, I know that there's a nest there, I'm gonna go find it, I'm gonna go harvest these resources.
The murder hornets seem like they would hunt these too.
Yeah. So yeah, hornets are an issue in Asia, as well as there's bee-eater birds. So there's birds that specifically go after the bees. Most of the time they won't decimate the hives, but they can definitely weaken it. Is there another question or comment?
What is the economic value of that hive compared to like a day's wages?
That's a really good question too.
But
But I think
this is a whole subculture that's been around for hundreds and hundreds
the
of
honey
years.
hunting.
The bee hunters.
Yeah, and where they're harvesting both the honey itself as well as the brood, and so I think it is pretty important for the livelihood of those people. And I'm sure it depends on where you are. We were in more urbanized parts of Thailand, but out in the country, I think this is an important food source for.
Paycheck worth?
I would think so. Yeah.
They only have a single queen?
Yeah. So these only have a single queen.
How do they propagate?
The queen's similar to mellifera.
So they're going to split off and swarm?
Yep, they would split off and swarm. They also, I think these are similar to the giant honeybee, which I'll show you in a minute, where they will move multiple times throughout the year. So they'll move from this comb and go build another comb, whether it's the dry season or the wet season throughout the year. And these are just some facts, and again, I'm not the expert on these, but just distinguishing facts that were shared with me. The males have a thumb, or a little cleft on the back hind leg that's differentiating for them. They will pip in defense, but they're so docile, and they will dance on the comb. And they're usually nesting about 10 meters off the ground, so you wouldn't necessarily see them if you're just walking through. But a very small comb structure. You can see the bees there. You can see the brood pattern in the brood nest. So these are just some fun pictures. They cut down the nest in the tree that the honey hunter was up in, and you can see that they're really small. The nest structure itself, that's the whole thing. This is my daughter. This is Amy Vu. Do you guys know Two Peas in a Pod? Two Peas in a Podcast. So Amy Vu is one of the podcasters on that. She's University of Florida. She helped lead the trip. Jamie Ellis is in her office. Cameron Jack. It was really kind of like fangirl to hang out with Amy the whole time. But a lot of the honey on the hive is on the top. So they dared her to take a bite of honey straight from the hive. That's what she's doing. And then in the bottom picture, they were so docile you could pick them up. So you can see that I just have like a mass of bees in my hand, and then you put them back on the hive, and they were really, really cool. Again, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm fairly certain, if I remember right, that Florea which is aptly named, they're one of the best pollinators. So for diversity of flower pollination in Thailand, they're really important for that. So those were really fun. And then we get on to the giant honeybee. So this is Apis dorsata, and you can see its distribution there. So this is when it started getting National Geographic on us in Thailand. Their colonies can vary depending on the race and location. They're typically in tall trees or up on man-made structures, but on cliff sides. And really, if you've seen the National Geographics where they're climbing up and there's just a huge fan of bees, that was it. That's what we were seeing. The workers will shimmer as a defensive behavior. So if you get close to them, they like do the wave. So the whole fan will shimmer in defense. And you can see in this tree, look closely, there's a whole bunch of nests in the tree. Ready? You see all the arrows? Yeah, so a ton. And these are ones that they can move multiple times in the year. So it says they stay put maybe 4 to 7 months, and then they'll move to a new location and build comb. But then they often go back to the same branch.
So they're not
So they're mobile. They're moving, and yeah, I think they split as well, but they're absconding to new locations, kind of following the weather patterns and things like that.
How do they survive the giant rainstorms that they have?
They cluster, and they're under and they cluster. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. So here's a few pictures that I took. This is a picture of the big fan at home with no bees on it. And again, you can see the honey hunter, and you can see he's barefoot. Like, he climbed up there with nothing. And these guys are, I know we try not to say that bees are aggressive, right? We're like, they're defensive, not aggressive. These guys are aggressive. They were mean. You can see the picture of one of our fellow trip members' hands. So we had seen a dorsata nest, and we walked to another, and we were a big group. There were like 20 of us, 15, 20 of us in total. And one of the graduate students from University of Florida, I don't know what he was doing, but he started to kind of climb up the tree towards the nest, and then someone yelled, "Shimmer," because it was doing the defensive behavior, and the bees just came at everybody that was standing around. And most people did not have any of their veils on or anything yet. So there were a few people. There was one guy that got stung 30 times. He was fine.
But was he really? I mean,
he seemed fine. All of them, honestly. I'm like, you got a little something right here, and they're like swelling. I had chose to walk away at that point. Mellifera, if I get stung on the hand by Mellifera, I swell. So I'm pretty careful, and I'm like, I'm not going to take the chance with venom that I don't know in another country. So I had walked away by that point. My daughter is braver than I. She got stung on the arm, and she had like a golf ball goose egg for a day and a half or so. But yeah.
The shimmer is a warning.
It is. Yeah, so like if a bird's getting close or something's getting close, they're shimmering, they're doing this wave as a defensive behavior. Yes, yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
Yeah, so when someone yelled shimmer.
That sounds like a warning.
Yeah, his warning.
It's also to make them look like one large organism.
Yep, yeah, so something's happening here, back off. So yeah, it was quite exciting when someone yelled shimmer, and then everybody was running through the forest. Yeah, and then we had people who were just surrounded by angry bees, and they're coming to talk to us, and we're like, no, you keep walking. You know, you guys all know that, like pheromones, you guys. Like, the people out here don't want to get stung. Back off.
Smart people.
Right? Yeah, that's exactly.
These stingers do have barbs on them. Right?
Yep.
I mean, like.
Yep.
And the time frame was the same, 21 days for.
I don't know that.
For
worker development
and stuff on all these bees.
I don't know that. That's a good question.
Because if it's shorter time, then they can get more bees.
That's right.
To move and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Are you looking that up?
Oh, okay.
Andree,
yeah.
How much does that one weigh? That fan, would you estimate? Because it looks like that is a very substantial.
So here's a picture of my daughter and I holding it. I would say it's maybe, I don't know, 15 pounds?
40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Worth of area.
Yeah. I mean, it was substantial. I mean, you can hold it by yourself, but it's also just kind of big and unwieldy. But again, you can see there's kind of
the same one as the previous.
Yep. Yeah. So this is the one the honey hunter did take that down.
How did he get it down? Did he?
So he had a machete and a rope and lowered it down. But he climbed up, and this was the crazy thing too. Like, we're getting stung, everybody's running. He's up there barefoot.
He's just all
doing his thing, and he's fine. yeah. So kind of that co-evolution. I mean, these guys have been doing it for years, and they're pretty amazing.
Thousands of years.
Yeah. But yeah, you can kind of see the different, the bands of different resources on there, and it's a prized thing, So one of the other, I think, benefits for the honey hunters is, like I said, the bees will move, but they do have a tendency to come back to the same spot. They're not necessarily reusing the comb because it's going to be out in the weather and the wind, but they'll rebuild on the same branch. So there's a high likelihood that if you found a spot you will continue to have
Like your
giant
good
bees
fishing
there.
spot.
Yep, yeah, like your good fishing
Is
spot.
that an indication of a parasitic situation, that straight, those angular lines coming through there?
You know, it looks like, that to me looks like a wax moth or something
it
like
does,
that.
that's
Yeah, I don't remember if we looked at that or not, but that's what that would look like on mellifera hives. I think it's some sort of a parasite or something going through there.
I think it's more a branch that,
Could have been a branch that's blocked it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did they just tie it with a rope, or did they have a basket that it was in?
This one, I think
When they pulled it off?
Yeah, he had a rope up there, and I think just kind of lowered it down as he was climbing. I mean, these honey hunters are in the tree, they're somehow holding on. At one point, I think I have a video where he's cutting it. He has his foot on top of the branch, and he's like chopping it below, and he's barefoot. I'm like, this guy's crazy, it's amazing.
Does he have all his toes still?
He does, yeah. But yeah, they slowly get it down. He had other people with him too, so, you know, other people can try to get it down in one piece, so. All right, I'm running short on time, so I'm going to cruise through some of the rest of these. We talked about a little bit about pests and predators. There are these bee-eater birds, which I thought this was fascinating. I mean, that's what they're primary after, is the bees, and they're beautiful. Mites, which we all know about, right? And then there are definitely issues with the hornets in the Asian countries as well as in places in the United States. I want to focus really quick on the tropolalaps because that was one of the other reasons that we were there. But y'all are familiar with this, right? We all know varroa mite. What I thought was interesting is that the native host for varroa mite is the Apis cerana. So the eastern honeybee is the native host. And so they have lived with them. They've co-evolved with varroa mite, and so it's not a big deal for them. They're able to exist. They're not having, so those pipes, you know, they're not worried about the varroa mites causing issues in those types of beehives. They don't have to worry about it as much.
so what do the Apis cerana do with, do they have grooming?
Yeah, more hygienic behaviors. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm fairly certain they also, one of the hygienic behaviors that they have, as we know, the varroa mites reproduce under the caps, right? So if they sense that pupa underneath the caps are weak, they leave them capped. So they won't uncap them, and they will let the varroa mites die underneath the capping, right? If you could teach the bees here to be like, well, don't open those up, let them die. But the cerana will say there's something wrong. You know, they can sense that something is wrong with that brood, and they will not uncap it, and then the varroa mites stay under there, and they'll die in the underneath the capping. So
Seems they have another advantage, that because the comb is out in the open, that when the mites do fall off, they go a long way. They're not coming right back.
Yeah, they're not climbing right back up. Yeah, that's a great observation. Yeah. So there's also another mite that I hadn't heard of until I was here that's called Uvarroa. Its primary host is Apis florea. It also has been reported in mellifera colonies, not here, but in other countries. But again, with coevolution, the Apis florea is able to manage those. The one that I wanted to mention, and again, I'm not an expert on this, but I think David also mentioned I'm on the board of the Utah Beekeepers Association, and I feel like we need to have more and more tropolalaps knowledge. So tropolalaps is a mite that has been, it basically co-evolved or is the original host of the dorsata. So the giant honeybee is the native host of tropolalaps, but it has jumped now to mellifera species as well. You can see in the picture up at the top, there are two varroa mites, and then on my side of the picture is a trophy mite. So they're a lot smaller, they're a lot faster, and they're a lot harder to see.
Have we seen those in Utah yet?
No, we haven't seen them in the US at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so luckily we have not, but I think the main takeaway for me is as beekeepers, we need to know what they look like, what they are, and what to do if we find them, which is call UDAF. Yeah, try not to freak out, but also don't hide it, right? Don't be like, I don't know what that is. Like we gotta report this and make sure that we can share that information. So
Don't buy bees from Eastern Europe.
don't smuggle bees in, right? Yeah.
That's who's having a big problem with
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yeah, it's spreading. So here's another picture, and I think this is just amazing. So you can see the comb, and that's the tropical lobster.
And those countries do import them to Canada.
Mm.
So
you have to be very careful.
Of your Canadian
Yeah.
bees.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we did here was we actually got to pull frames from their mellifera hives, as well as when we pulled down any of the Serrana and dorsata comb, we were looking for and collecting the Trochilelaps mites for research. I would say that's my daughter and one of the other women on the trip. It was challenging to see and capture the mites on a frame with no bees on it. So I think the hardest thing for beekeepers, if we experience Trochilelaps mite, will be just even finding them and seeing them and knowing that that's a problem, because they're really, really fast and they're really, really tiny. And I think if you had a frame that was covered in bees, it would be really challenging to see them. So I'm going to cruise through this. If you're interested in Trochilelaps, the Honeybee Health Coalition, which hopefully y'all know from their varroa mite monitoring, they have a ton of great information on Trochilelaps. They have videos of them, like you can see them in action. They show, they have mite drop boards, sticky boards that you can see and try to find the Trochilelaps yourself versus the varroa mite and see how tiny they are. But they've got a ton of great information. Again, they're not here now. These are some of the countries that this expanded to, but it is a big concern. I think you said to me, don't share any bad news. The good news is we don't have them. The bad news is we might, right? And it might just be one more thing that as beekeepers we have to manage along with our bees. I tell my new beekeepers, if you are a beekeeper, you're also a mite manager, and that's just it. So, yeah. So I think I'll just end there. My takeaways were that the bees of Thailand were amazing, and really trying to think about how other bee species operated and translate that to my hive. I mean, it opened up so many more questions than I had answers, but it was fascinating just to think about the bee behavior, so many more questions to research. So I hope that maybe that spurred you to think, oh, I want to learn more about dorsata or florea, my favorite. And then, yeah, trophy mites are currently not in the US, but recognition of those and reporting definitely matters. So I'm hoping at the Bee Association conference next February we'll have more on trophy mites, or we can put on some webinars or other things like that. So, thank you. Sorry, Nicole, it's so much time.
I just have.
Oh, you're quick. That's perfect.
All right, so we have 29 ships left to fill, which is less than we've ever had to fill this time in the past. So this is good. It does seem like a couple of people from different bee groups, because I just don't recognize their names, have actually decided to volunteer, so that will be exciting. Hopefully you'll get to meet somebody new. I know Jared Lee has sent out an email to all of the people who received mentoring, and I don't think any of the mentees have volunteered yet. So if you're a mentor, please contact people that you are helping and say, this is one way to give back to the association. It's only $22 for personalized one-on-one mentoring, so we're hoping that they can and will give back to the organization.
I thought that was part of the understanding of being mentored, that they take a shift, no?
It was supposed to be.
It is. I did sign up.
Oh, good.
Well, yeah, I'm actually specific.
But, no, I just want to encourage more and more people to get involved, just because it fosters kinship with people in the organization, and once we get people involved, then it just brings in more diverse ideas and voices, and I just think it enriches the organization.
This is on the website, right?
I hope so. It should be on the website. I posted it on Facebook.
I looked on it about 3 weeks ago. There wasn't anything yet. You had last year's. So this is on the website now, if you know of.
Yes, in the
Okay.
very beginning, there was a mix-up, but yes. So then sign up today.
And
Well, I'd be glad to, it's just,
it's on
computers hate
Facebook.
me and I hate them, so
Or I
we'll
can
have a good
help you.
time. Huh?
At the end of the meeting, I can help you sign up if you want me to do that.
I'd be delighted.
Okay.
25 spots left.
I,
Rebecca?
So we have spots that have 3 people, and then we have other spots that have 0. Do we actually need 3 people slots? Could we get rid of the 3 people and make them all 2s?
How many people
But
sign up?
that would depend on the person who signed up, who decided
Well,
that
not
they're.
this year, but like for next year. Is there a reason some are 3?
Yes, so
Like-
typically, so what we, before the pandemic, the fair would open up at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
and it would just be for school-age students. Kids would arrive on school buses and they would come through. And so we needed 3 to 4 people in that very first shift. Since then, they
You know,
don't.
I think that's the slowest shift, and yet our 6 to 10s, where you can have every drunk cowboy that needs to finish it.
We always make sure that
There's only 2 or 1.
I volunteer for
That's
Charlie
really
And one of them needs to be the bouncer.
Saturday nights are your cowboy nights.
Yeah. So, since then, we see a much bigger surge of people coming through in the 2 to 6 time frame. And so that is why I put 2 and sometimes on the day, 3 and 4.
Like Fridays and Saturdays and
Yeah.
Sundays and probably this.
Yeah, 2 to 6.
Plus, who knows what the temperature is like, so it's, right, it's difficult in there because the swamp cooler is running, and it's loud, and there's a lot of people talking, and then it's just a shouting adventure.
I was just trying to spread this out a little more over the shifts since.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're gonna get all these shifts filled.
Well, we do have our own, so
I
I filled
have
17 last year, so hopefully that won't be needed. But yeah, just reach out to anybody who you know is interested in bees, maybe they don't even have a hive themselves. It's so much fun. And I think the people who do it every year, they know how much fun it is. It's just we need to get new people involved.
And then how do you sign up for presentations to sell your honey?
Aha! Let's see here. I will
Give
get
it
to
a
that in
demo.
just a sec. I want to encourage everyone to submit their honey, whether it's creamed honey, runny honey, or cut comb. And the comb is actually, when you look at the directions, it's just comb, it's not comb submerged in honey. So we're up to 3 different categories, and this year, everything seems to be working on their website, so you should just be able to go to the horticulture division, and you can just type into your search engine, Utah State Fair, or horticulture division, and this webpage will show up. And then you just need to read everything. If you read everything and you'll navigate to the right buttons, then it's really easy to see what are the due dates and what are all the things that you'll be judged on.
And first prize is $5.
I think it's
And then
75.
somebody steals your honey.
So.
I think I got $20 last year.
A honey display,
It's about the river.
so it won't look like a yard sale. And so it should all be in one spot, and it's only been once that we've had a jar of honey go missing. And that was like, I think in 2021.
We can stick them down with, like those dots, the glue dots.
Oh, sure. And you can do that?
Okay, yeah, okay, I've got some extra.
Okay, so this is another thing I would encourage everyone to do. It is a great way to sell honey
And it's the only way you can sell honey at this fair.
without paying
Yes.
like a retailer's fee. So you give a 10 to 15-minute short demonstration. I have given demonstrations on how nectar's turned into honey, the CASA system, huh?
Didn't you do flowers that they like?
Yeah, and you can, and it's a full kitchen, so if you wanted to show them, this is how you can make something with honey, whether it's honey caramels or a cake or a glaze for something, it could be super simple, and then You have 30 minutes, and I had an hour because nobody else was doing demos. And so then you can sell. And there's information, we'll put it in this month's newsletter about you're responsible for filing your taxes. The fair is not going to get involved with that. Let's see, what else is there to know? Oh, and you get free parking when you do a demo. And you get to park in the, like, where the DMV is. So it's really easy to get all of your stuff into the Zion building, into the kitchen.
Can you do products, not just money? Like, could you do
Yeah.
lip balms?
You can do lip balms, you can do whatever you want. Yep.
Did you sell all your honey?
No, but I brought a lot.
Hot honey, you should have made hot honey.
Hot honey. I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
Just,
That's some spice.
You put a little cayenne.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Put some ghost pepper in it.
Yeah.
Hot.
It's hot and sweet.
So Safra Galeos is the contact person, and if you send her your request, want to do something, you've got your title, she will put it up onto their website. It's an app that a lot of the visitors download so they can see what activities are happening. We will advertise for you at the booth to let people know to go to the Zion building when people have demonstrations. Every year I get people asking me, why can't we sell honey at our booth? It would be so much easier. It's because we're in with all the animals and livestock. So we're too close to the petting zoo and where the animals are being shown, so the health department will not allow us to sell honey in that building.
I've had occasion where people want a card. I just give them a card if they need honey, but I don't have it here.
Absolutely.
And that's possible.
That is
as well.
totally fine. You come in on your shift, you want to put up a sign,
Yeah.
from whatever region of the state you're from, so people know that if they want local honey, they can get it, if someone's kind of near their neighborhood, that's totally fine.
Well, I tell them, any honey that's not local is poison, so.
Well, it's not
Or
real
not.
honey.
Isn't that right?
Maybe, who knows what they're treating with, right?
Well,
And
what's the
then-
use of having raw honey if it's not from your area?
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're trying to convince family and friends to come with you, you get a free t-shirt. And that's why if you haven't signed up yet, I'd love for you to do it today because I'm putting in the order for t-shirts on Tuesday. And you get free parking for the day of your shift. Every time you volunteer, you get, I've been told, at least 3 extra entrance tickets. So, it's $45.
Three more?
3 more, and you can use
So,
them on any
okay.
day.
Any day.
On entrance tickets, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I did.
Yes, and every time, yes,
Okay.
let's see.
Because they didn't do that last year or the year, well, I don't know, last year I was sick, but the year
We did it
before
last
that.
year, this is the
Okay.
first year
So
where
that
they
was
said they would
good.
get us, yeah.
The
So,
one time I went and they took one from me. I had it printed out and the person there scanned it twice, scanned 2 of them.
You're so lucky.
Oh, yeah, right.
You're special.
working with, they
Yes,
have a
yeah.
revolving door
Well,
for who does
I told them about that. I was with the crowd, but I said, this was just for me, and he said, oh, but he didn't do it, he couldn't take it back, so.
If
But
you're-
I got one extra back there.
So this year, Victor, sign up for a whole bunch of shifts and then scalp your tickets.
Okay. That's my 3rd job, don't you know?
Last year, they made me dump out my thermos of water,
Oh,
but I would have been able to bring a gun in.
that
you
is
can't bring
not-
water, but you can, Roger.
Yep.
So
I
that's
just
a
would
good
put
point.
water
If you,
in my,
for some reason, had to pour out your water, we also have a water cooler in that room. Like we do every year, it's behind a big fan.
Is it next to the animals?
No.
It's, the Amazon next door in the building.
Yeah, it's right by the pens.
And if, so I will be distributing all the tickets, I'll get them electronically, and then I'll mail them out, email them like I did last year. And so if you encounter a problem, if your ticket's not working, or they scanned the wrong one, there's lots of things that happen. Just email me, or text me, and we'll get it figured out. And that's it. But we do need 29 cents.
Could you go back to the thing?
I sent
I
it
tried to get on and it would not work.
We were gonna be out of town. So I signed up for the first 2 or 3 days or whatever it was, and then we changed plans so I can work.
You can do all of this.
I can do all of it.
Amazing, it's amazing.
My dear says, well, let's sign you up. I said, well, I was gonna find out how many was left.
29.
29, yeah,
Okay.
so I'll sign up for.
And you don't have chairs.
I did.
Yeah, I tried it, right before I came.
So that's my second text. I'm good for the 16th, the 17th, the Monday, Tuesday nights.
We're done, I'm gonna cancel, I'll stop the recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Sign up.
Oh, you're gonna dismiss us?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
grab the chair.
Yeah, put away the chairs.
Yeah. All the honey is in, for being judged is in the Zion's building now.
Yeah.
And it's behind, a 4-foot barrier. They put a barrier around it now.
Yeah, they have this